Hey guys, welcome back to Prem Talk. Yet another video, and just like the UEFA Champions League, Prem Talk is back. And the review is also back. We are in, this is episode 4. Hope you guys are continuing to subscribe. You know the drill, like the videos, and tell me more of what I can continue to introduce on the review show. Game week 4 came back straight after the international break, a very annoying international break, but it ended on Sunday, the day before yesterday, and ended strong on Manchester Derby. And that's where I am going to begin the review for this fourth episode. So, Manchester Derby was the last game of game week 4, and it was a 3-0 victory for Manchester City, 2 goals by Erling Haaland and Phil Foden. Again, two thorns in the Manchester United team, because these are the same culprits that have always terrorized Manchester United when it comes to Manchester derbies. Phil Foden has been on a bit of a rot, honestly, before this Manchester derby. He's been nowhere to be found. Performance-wise, he has been really poor, and even numbers-wise, it really dipped for him in the last year and a half, I believe. And he was back to good, tremendous form here, joining up and teaming up with the ever scoring Erling Haaland and the pacey and very tricky Jeremy Doku joined in on the fun, coming out of the game with 2 assists, and Erling Haaland, of course, double, and Phil Foden also getting the goal here. Well, so United do have their own problems, in all honesty, because in all the 3 goals, the third one, that is Haaland's second goal, that one was the poorest of them all, because it came from United attempting to, break down City, and a silly pass back to Maguire, who was the last man, and dilly-dallied and shaky on the ball, and Erling Haaland ended up getting on it, arriving 1v1 against the goalkeeper, and there's no other result from that. Ended up in a goal, of course. And as for United here and Ruben Amorim, United, indeed, their problems are being laid bare to see. The summer transfer window closed just recently, and that was before the international break. And I remember I was telling a few people that United's problems are still there, and it is key in that midfield, because of all the midfielders that they do have, they do not have any pair that suit each other's game, honestly. And when it comes to also the enigmatic Bruno Fernandes, who has to be in the team, but in this system that Ruben Amorim is playing, the question is, where do you play him? Because you did buy uh, Brian Belmo, Matthias Cunha, and Benjamin Sheshko, who I do imagine, if you spend 200 million on the three, have to take those 3 positions up top. So if Bruno has to be in the team, then it has to be somewhere in that midfield. And in that midfield, Bruno clearly won't work in a two. So those are the questions that are going to continue to pester Manchester United, at least until the January transfer window, when they can fix something in regards to getting another uh, defensive minded midfielder, a ball. more preferably a ball playing defensive midfielder, more of the type of a Rodri, more of the type of a Caicedo, more of the type of a Zubimendi, and even, if I may say, Ryan Gravenberg, who has been transformed into that in the last year or two. So that is United's biggest problems, and again they were laid bare in this game. And Ruben Amorim at this point is a manager who is under deep threat of uh, of the managerial sack. He will now, if that happens, he will become the second one. So he will want to try and avoid that start, honestly. So he is under real pressure, bearing in mind the fact that he has lost a lot of games since the start of his United tenure, and he has to rectify a few things and has to try to make something work with what he's got at this moment in time. So that was the Manchester derby. Honestly, City had it in control from beginning to the end. And as much as United huffed and puffed, with Brian Belmo in there, providing chances, attempting shots here and there, did come close, admittedly, once or twice. But beyond him, Amad Diallo struggled, Bruno Fernandes struggled. The defense was all over the place, and they have a lot of work to do. In all honesty, a lot of work to do. So that was the Manchester derby. Ruben Amorim is going to have to find a way to fix up, or people are going to be seriously calling for him to get sacked, in all honesty. So that was Manchester derby, and into the second game we go. That was the first game of Sunday, Burnley against Liverpool, and this, in all honesty, has followed the themes of all Liverpool games this season, where Liverpool have been poor in all four games. I will grant them the Arsenal game because at least for half of the game, mostly in the second half, they did turn up against Arsenal. But for all the other halves of football that they have played in the other three games, Liverpool have really been poor, especially defensively. No one begrudges Liverpool in regards to what they are doing in attack. I think the only question in attack that many have with Liverpool is on the form of one Florian Wirtz, who has struggled, and that is being so lenient. That is just being the easy route to look at this. He has really struggled to impose his game style, but in despite all of that, uh, his team have still managed to get all 3 points in all the games this season. The only remaining an 100% team in this season. So he is still adapting, and so is Mo Salah as he continues to score goals, even despite the fact that he performs really poorly. I must say, uh, for us FPL players, it's becoming a theme in the four games now that Mo Salah. You'll rather not watch him during the game if you're an FPL owner of him, Fantasy Premier League owner of Mo Salah in this case, and because he only seems to turn up 90th plus minutes, in terms of contribution of points, and in any other time in the game, you will be really frustrated watching Mo Salah. So it was another similar game for him here, and you know, Liverpool, even though they have been poor, the one thing that Liverpool will always have this season, Liverpool will score goals this season. It'll be extremely difficult for any team to keep out Liverpool. While they can be got at the back, then the thing with Liverpool is you have to limit the amount of goals that they score, because at some point inevitably Liverpool will score a goal this season against you. This was another case of the Liverpool, showing their attacking threat and showing their attacking power by the mere fact that they snuck a penalty right at the death, and this one they should really give a really huge uh, round of applause to Burnley, who shot themselves in the foot after a wonderful 90-minute performance of doggedness, defensive stability at the back, doing everything to make sure that Liverpool did not get a sniff at goal, and they went ahead and shot themselves in the foot uh, in the same manner as has been their recent games. I remember recently also in the United game, in the previous episode 3 of the review, where I did mention on Man United against Burnley, where they conceded a late penalty because of a silly handball uh, in their own box, and happened the same case here. Uh, Only add to that the fact that they got themselves a man down with a silly challenge by Ugo Chuku to for a second yellow card, and made their task even harder, and as if it wasn't bad enough that they let themselves down with Ugochukwu getting sent off. Again, an attacker, in this time in Hannibal Mejbri, decides to raise his hand and block across in his own box, and his face said it all. Even the ref, uh, if he had any doubts, he just had to look at Hannibal's face to understand that it was a handball and in the box, therefore had no other choice but to give the penalty. So another game similar, and of course, when you give Mo Salah a penalty, even though his record of late has not been quite good, he cannot miss this one. So uh, Burnley are going to really have to fix up on that, because it is not nice for them having to show a lot of resilience, show a lot of heart throughout an entire 90 minutes, 2 games in a row, and then end up just squandering and throwing away crucial points that could easily get them relegated, and all because of themselves, doing silly things like getting handballs and getting themselves sent off. So Burnley do really have a lot of work, but they do have some good positives to take away from this game, in the fact that they held out Liverpool for that long. So Liverpool live to fight another day. They remain unbeaten, and they remain 100% with having won all the games this season, and they will continue to improve surely, because uh, Alexander Isak is yet to join this attack, and I want to imagine in the next game week he will be there. So Liverpool will continue rolling on, and as for Burnley, they will have to fix up in regards to those defensive frailties. So those were the Sunday games, and into the Saturday games, where a lot of games were in here, 8 of them. So we will start at the 10 p.m. kickoff, yeah, East African time. That was Brentford hosting Chelsea, and I will start with the VAR drama so that I just get it out of the way. At the end, the game ended 2-2, and it was a last minute equalizer by Fabio Cavallo, but I didn't even notice it when I was watching the game, because conceding a last minute goal to size down 3 points to 1 point, it's a lot of frustration. You don't even get the chance to try and look back at the goal and try and imagine whether there was an offside or not. But in any case, there was an offside incident here where, uh, of course, it was a long throw. Brentford's key weapon this season, in all honesty, and with that long throw, when of course you know what they do, a long throw into the box, then they get a flick on from someone, and once the flick on was made, one Dango Watara was at an offside position, and as much as the question of did he touch the ball or not, but he made an attempt to go for the ball, thereby thereby impacting the defensive activities of what Rhys James could have, should have done. Therefore, put Rhys James in a 2v1 situation. And I'm not excusing James, but he still should have cleared the ball. And of course, no excuses. Alejandro Garnacho should be following up on his man, on Fabio Carvalho. But, VAR again chose not to interfere here. I guess when they were saying it has to be a high threshold for VAR intervention, they applied it here. So, I'm not going to make much of a fuss about it, but you couldn't argue that it was an offside incident in there. So, moving on swiftly from that incident, 2-2, Chelsea did not start well, in all honesty. That first half was another poor performance, especially, it was a rotated side with Jorel Heitro and Wesley Fofana coming in at fullbacks area. We had the debut for Facundo Bonanote, and with all those changes, you're always going to be susceptible to a few hiccups when it comes to playing. So we struggled a bit, not in terms of chance creation. Defensively, we weren't that bad. Of course, apart from the defending for the goal, where it was a bit similar to what Chelsea conceded against Fulham, the disallowed goal, which caused the whole furor of an entire international break, having to listen to critics and pundits and rival fans just criticizing Chelsea for getting away with. Despite the fact it was a VAR decision to disallow an 18-year-old goal. Funny enough, Fulham still ended up uh, giving it as their goal of the month, despite the fact it was an offside goal. It was a disallowed goal for a foul. So uh, after all of that, we did concede a bit of a similar goal here with this time same incident. Trevor Chalobah went high to try and challenge for or get the ball from Igor Thiago. Of course, there was a whole melee in there after Pedro Neto attempted to cross the ball for Heito, who was out of position here. And in an attempt for Heito to get to the ball, of course, he lost the header, which is not a bad thing. But of course, as the header went out of their own box, there was Trevor Chalobah rushing out to attempt to win the ball back from Igor Thiago, who was falling back. But in all that melee, he got himself confused with Buonanotte, who was recovering to get the ball too. And somehow the ball landed to Matthias Jensen, who found Jordan Henderson, exquisite long ball over the top to release Kevin Schade, the pacey Kevin Schade, who was 1v1 against Tosin, and you know the rest. So, poor goal for us to concede after, a laborious, I believe it was 19 minutes or so when Brentford scored. So, after a laborious 19 minutes there, and Brentford ended up scoring the goal through Kevin Schade. A bit of poor defending, I must say, from Chelsea, and just deflated the mood of me and other Chelsea fans, watching and all of that. So it was a poor first half, but we did a lot of improvement in the second half. Enzo Maresca tweaked a few things. Uh, Suffice to say that he did make three changes at halftime. Two of them were pre-planned, as he mentioned in his post-match press conference. And with those three changes, came alive. The Chelsea team. The entire second half, we were really, really better. Even culminating in the equalizer from Cole Palmer, some good piece of play from Pedro Neto, who did find Palmer here, and at least Palmer gets an open play goal in 2025. The last one I believe was somewhere in early January of 2025. Yes, but at least Cole Palmer gets himself on the score sheet here, and he should, and I mean should have made it, uh, should have made it to one earlier, because he did have a bit of a similar chance to the one that he scored, and this time instead of finding the net, his team effort ended up at the hands of one Kiemin Kelleher, and after all that, on came Garnacho, and he honestly got got us a bit of impetus on the attacking front, and he did well, and his cutback, ended up in mixing up the Brentford defense, and somehow the ball landed to the feet of Moises Caicedo, who made it 2-1. And once again, Palmer had an opportunity to, uh, give us a 3-1 lead, missed again. And there was Brentford at the last minute, of course, with that long throw of what I was explaining in the offside decision, on the VAR case at the beginning. So uh, that was a game. There was still time though for Palmer to miss another opportunity set up by one Alejandro Garnacho, who, apart from the goal that we considered the Brentford equalizer, uh, late equalizer, did well in this game. Uh, should have had three assists in all honesty. Sadly, Chelsea dropped points here. 2-2 is how it ended. And though we remained unbeaten, it is very annoying in all honesty, conceding a last minute goal to turn 3 points to one. So a bit of a sucker punch there for Chelsea, but we move on, stay unbeaten, and not a bad point to from a stadium in which we really struggle with. I think in the last 5, 6 years we have won there once, so good that we've gotten it out of the way at this point, honestly. And into the next game, we now do go where West Ham, another team that is under pressure, another team with a manager in deep pressure. Well, they got into furthermore pressure and furthermore disappointment here for their fans, where they suffered a 3-0 hammering at the hands of Spurs this time. And, it's not a West Ham bad day without talking about how poor they are defensively on set pieces. They conceded two of them here, and honestly, West Ham really are going to have to change something in regards to their set piece defending, because it's getting worse. We all know at this point, 4 games into the season, that with the new keeper that they do have in Mads Hermansen, every set piece that comes out, he's not going to come for the ball. He hasn't done that. I do believe he doesn't like to come out from the ball for the ball at this point on set pieces, and opposition teams are taking advantage of that a lot, because if West Ham do not get that first contact on set pieces, then you can guarantee yourself the opposition, like in this case Spurs now, will always and always had an opportunity. And the first set piece that Spurs did have, of course, they scored from it. Unfortunately, it was ruled out because they did mention that there was a foul in the melee inside the box. So it went on. And I'm going to be fair to West Ham here. They played well, a lot well, attacking wise, that is, in the first half. The quartet there of Crescentio Somerville, Lucas Paqueta, Jared Bowen, and Matias Fernandez. They were really, really wonderful to see. They played wonderful, wonderful combination attacking football. They cost Spurs a lot of problems, but as said, the set pieces will always be the Achilles heel for West Ham and will always pull them down. And there was a second set piece, and of course, Spurs scored from it here with Christian Romero getting a free header 3-4 yards out away from goal. And as I mentioned to you, with these set pieces with West Ham, if they do not win that first contact, then it's going to be a goal conceded for them. And Christian Romero obliged here with first goal, opening the floodgates here for Spurs here to rain upon West Ham. So that was the first goal Spurs conceded. The second one came right after West Ham had gotten themselves down to 10 men. Thomas Suchek with a reckless challenge. He knew even before, like right after he made the challenge, he knew it was a red. Uh, was waiting to get up to receive a red card and get his marching orders, and indeed the referee Michael Oliver obliged here, and he got himself sent off. And in that free kick where the foul committed by Thomas Suchek to get himself sent off, Spurs scored from it. Another long ball into the box, and as mentioned, just as in set pieces, Mats Hermansen will not come out for the ball, and from a long ball into the box from Christian Romero, found the head of one Lucas Bagval, who had the easy attempt of, heading over the on rushing. I don't even know where he was going, on rushing Mads Hermansen, and to make it 2-0. And at this point, West Ham were just too deflated, almost giving up on their ambitions of this game. And a third one followed swiftly. Only that this one did not come from a set piece, but good neat play from Spurs, who completely opened up the West Ham defense and found one Mickey van der Ven, who Spurs were taking the mick at this point, with a centre back scoring a goal. So bad day at the office for West Ham, despite their early tries in the first half, good neat plays from the attackers in the first half. The set pieces continue to let them down. And Graham Potter is going to have to find something to work on that Achilles heel of set pieces. Graham Potter really has a lot of work to do in order to save his job, but first thing on the menu for him, he has to work out something, anything to just quell down the threats of the Achilles heel in set pieces. So that was West Ham against Spurs, where Spurs had their way with West Ham in regards to set pieces and whatnot. And into the next game now we do go, and I will go to the Gunners. Arsenal made light work of Nottingham Forest, who had a new manager to unveil in Big Ange, who's back into football swiftly after being sacked by Spurs after winning them the Europa League. Uh, Ange Postecoglou got the Nottingham Forest job, who during the international break they did sack Nuno Espirito Santo, and Big Ange is now back at Nottingham Forest, and well, he came back and his comeback ended in a whimper because Arsenal had their way with Nottingham Forest. In all honesty, at this point, I'll just call it the confused Nottingham Forest because I do not know what they were trying to do in this game because uh, I get what Ange wanted to do in the game, but the personnel that he did pick, especially up top, for me, contradicted what he wanted to do. Uh, if he was attempting to press the Arsenal backline when they were playing out from the back with the goalkeeper and the defense, then I do not understand why you start Chris Wood up top because he will not press that. He will not press for you up top effectively. That is when you have other players on the bench there in Ano Kalimwendo, a striker who can press. You have the striker that you did buy from Botafogo, who can also play and do that job effectively. And Chris Wood was just not the right option up top. On the wings, only one winger was fit for purpose, and it was Dan Doy. I don't know why he picked Callum Hudson-Odoi when he has Dylan Bakwa there to choose from, and a host of other attackers who could do a better job than Callum Hudson-Odoi. In all honesty, but Hudson-Odoi started this game and was poor. No qualms about it here. So Nottingham Forest were just confused all over the place, and Arsenal took advantage. Martin Zubimendi announced himself fully to the Arsenal faithful here with one banger goal, splendid shot from the edge of the box, from a set piece, of course. The ball came in. You know how dangerous Arsenal are on set pieces. Ball came in when it was headed out, and Zubimendi met it perfectly into the top corner to make it 1-0. And right at the start of the second half, a bit of poor play from Nottingham Forest and one defender there, and he let the ball bounce, and there was Eberechi Eze to pick up the ball and cross for Gyökeres to get another easy goal. And Zubimendi made it 3-0, and all honesty, that was the end of the game. Arsenal continue to suffer though with injuries. Injuries are beginning to be a huge problem for Arsenal this season. Uh, they did start this game with Martin Odegaard, who, if we do remember, the last game went out with an injury, but uh, he did start this game somehow and went out again with an injury, this time different from what he suffered last. And I do believe he should be out for a few games at least to give him enough recovery time. But apart from injuries, Arsenal do look good. I am so hesitant to say so, but I can't ignore it. They do look good. My only hope is that Arteta will manage to do something to just bring them down back a little bit. So Arsenal win here 3-0. They continue their momentum, and you know I hope they do not continue to do so in any case. So that was Ghana's hosting, Forest, an easy win for Arsenal here. And allow me to enter into a pair of nil-nils here, starting off with Palace against Sunderland. You could have predicted this from a mile because Sunderland have been, especially away from home this season, Sunderland have been very, very dogged, very, very defensively sound. They do not give you a lot of chances, and any chances that you do get against them, their goalkeeper in Robin Roofs does have a lot of praise to receive here because a lot of good saves made in the previous game away from home and even here against Palace, yes, Sunderland were indicted to their goalkeeper who did make a lot of good saves. So for Palace, it was a good debut, if I'm not wrong, because I believe it's the first game that Jeremy Pino started, but it was a good debut for him. He was lively, did cause Sunderland a lot of problems, but was capable here of a few horror misses. One in which he rounded the goalkeeper and somehow managed to evade the free net, and ball went just wide. So Sunderland, are continuing to pick up points away from home, being dogged, and at home, collecting 3 points in the games that they have played thus far. And I do predict that Sunderland are really going to be, at this point, they are going to stay up in this league because they've already done enough. And clearly, there are worse teams than them in this league already. So that was Sunderland against Palace, a nil-nil, and into another nil-nil we go. Everton against Villa, and I will just say that Villa are beginning to get themselves into a bit of a place where they are putting themselves under a lot of pressure because they remain winless. It's another draw, and it is another game in which Aston Villa have failed to score. They are, I believe, one of the only few teams I saw somewhere in the top five leagues, but certainly in the Premier League, to have not yet scored a goal this season. And that will really, really worry one Unai Emery. And as for Everton, it's another point for them. I said in the last video that going to the Hill Dickinson Stadium is going to be a very tough, tough proposition for opponents this season. And Villa suffered the same fate as Brighton did in the previous week. And will Everton will continue to do well, although they do have to look themselves in the mirror because they did miss some easy opportunities. I'm looking at you, Beto, who denied Grealish another, assist here. So Everton will be fine in this league. I do anticipate for them that they will finish in their usual 10th to 15th place there. That's where they always land come game week 38, and they will end up just being fine. So that was Everton Aston Villa nil-nil. Apart from a few missed chances here and there for Everton, there wasn't really much to speak about. And into the next game we go. A very fun game. It was Brighton against Bournemouth. Well, even before the game started, it was a game that you could easily tell was going to be fun because two pretty attacking teams here, full of attacking talents, despite the fact of big teams coming in for their top players. They still remain very good attacking wise here. And Bournemouth just edged it thanks to goals from Alex Scott and one Antoine Semenyo from the spot. Semenyo also did get, he did get an assist here for Alex Scott goal. So Semenyo continues to perform well here for Bournemouth, and I believe it is the fifth goal contribution for him in this season. I believe that's 2 assists and 3 goals, if I'm not wrong. Semenyo continues to do well. And as for Brighton, they were a bit unlucky and feel really hard done by the fact that they get out of this game with nothing because the attacking players really did perform well in Yankuba Minte crossing the ball for one Kauro Mitoma. Jorginho Rooted also did look good here. Danny Welbeck was a bit underwhelming, but did serve a purpose for Brighton. They are just going to have to fix up a bit defensively because even for Bournemouth's winning goal, the penalty that they did score from, it all came from Brighton shooting themselves in the foot. Louis Dunk gave the ball away, and one pass, and it was straight through to Evan Nilsson, who tried to cut inside the box to his stronger foot and was brought down by Jan Paul van Hecker. And it was from the penalty where Antoine Semenyo made it 2-1 to win the game for Bournemouth. So nine points for Bournemouth at this point. Good start for them. And as for Brighton, they're going to have to pick themselves up, but they will be fine. Into the next game now, we do go another fun game, although it did just end 1-0 here. It was Newcastle playing Wolves, and how Wolves have not gotten something in this game, it is all down to them because they started well, very, very well. I believe they had two attempts, uh, very, very close to going in the first minute, one in the 16th second and one in the 50th second. Uh, you know, Two shots that really, were it not for goalkeeper Nick Pope, then they should have been 2-0 down inside the first minute. And, you know, Wolves still had the opportunity to miss a few other chances. I'm looking at you, Rodrigo Gomez. One very glaring miss in the fact that he's got the ball, got past three. One defender got himself inside the box and had the option of squaring the ball to Arakodare to have an easy tap in. He chose to go himself and could only find the side netting. So Rodrigo Gomez should have done better there. And there was yet another opportunity where some good neat work on that right hand side, and the ball was flashed across for Arokodare, who were it not for Kieran Trippier intercepting the ball, then Arokodare would have had a tap in to get his first goal for his new club. So Wolves did play really, really well, but honestly, with the missed chances that they had in this game, it is no surprise that Newcastle ended up winning the game with one of the few attempts that they did have. And it was a new strike of their own in Nick Voltemade who got the goal here. A tremendous header to announce himself onto the Geordie faithful at St James Park. And, Newcastle will feel that they did get away from a hiding here because their start and even during the game they didn't really perform to their best level, but they did make a fight of it. Some good chances here and there. So Newcastle did have their attempts, but I believe they did just do enough to sneak a 1-0 win over Wolves. And as for Wolves, they are really going to have to work on their finishing and on their attack because that is essentially what cost them in this game, despite the fact also defensively they did look shaky, if I'm being honest. So the manager will have to have another week to look at that defense and work on it effectively. And the final game of the week, that is Fulham, who were playing Leeds. It was a tight game, very, very tight game, honestly. And it's not. Leeds will really feel hard done by the fact that they lost the game at the very end with an own goal from their own defender in Gabriel Goodmanson, who headed the ball tremendously into his own net, I must say, because it was a well placed header in all honesty. And as for Fulham, Fulham will be a problem in this league. They will be a problem completely because they do not have the threat of relegation. They will be pushing hard for Europe, but they will cause, especially the big teams, a lot of problems with their attack. Somehow they do have a very, very threatening deep attack, because beyond Iwobi, Harry Wilson, and Emil Smith Rowe, there is one Kevin who is a really, really tremendous talent. I really loved what I saw from Kevin. Should have had a goal or two here. He is very lively, and there is also, you know, Samu Chukwueze, who did come in at the depth of the transfer window. They did just manage to sneak him in at the last seconds of the transfer window, and that just adds the depth of the attack. So any team that's going to be coming up against Fulham expect that you are going to be in for a very tough game against Fulham, because attacking wise they are going to cause you a lot of problems. To be fair to them, defensively they are trying, but were it not for their goalkeeper, Leeds should have had a goal here. By the double threat or dual threat here of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Noah Okafor. Leeds tried their best, but there was Ben Leno to prevent them from getting a goal or to get something out of this game. So Fulham edge Leeds, and that is the final game of the review for game week 4, and that's it. The game week 4 ends with Liverpool on top, a whole host of Arsenal, Spurs, and Bournemouth following them, with Chelsea in fifth now, and at the bottom, West Ham still fighting it out down there with Wolves. So that's it, guys, for the review episode 4. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later. Let's enjoy the week. Let's enjoy the return of the Champions League, and I will see you later. Bye.